I need a favor from all of you. If you have your cell phones, I need you to take them out, hold them up for me. Now I need you to put them face down on the floor at your feet. Come on, do it. Actually do it. You all just dramatically improved the quality of your life. This is something I feel very strongly about because this isn't just something I've written for this speech today. I spent a lot of my time outside of class and outside of school thinking and reading and researching this. And your phone is ruining your life. It's ruining your life in three ways. It's ruining your biology, it's ruining your mental abilities, and it's ruining your relationships. And I'll start first with biology, but to do that we need to understand what the mechanisms are for when you send a text. So if I have my phone out, what happens when you send a text? Your chin goes down, your hands go in front, and your shoulders go around it. It's important to remember that posture because that posture is exactly similar to how you feel when you're depressed or intimidated or sad. Your chin comes down, your hand comes to protect your heart, and your shoulders are rounded. And your body works in loops. They're called feedback loops. So when you do feel depressed, the physical manifestation of depression, chin down, shoulders rounded, hands together. That's the same thing happens when you send a text. And because your body works in loops, it can't tell the difference between where it starts and ends because a loop is a circle. So when you're sending text, you're in that depressed posture, and your brain doesn't know that you're actually not depressed, it just knows that you're in the physical state of depression. So your brain can actually begin to recreate and create those same neurotransmitters that are emitted when you do feel depressed. Your phone is also ruining your sleep schedule. Your sleep is modulated by your circadian rhythm, but your circadian rhythm is more deeply modulated by something called blue light. And blue light is emitted by the sun, lights, and your cell phone. That's why when we go to bed at night, we turn our lights off. But why do we do that? We do that way it's easier to fall asleep. But it's easier to fall asleep because that way your eyes aren't receiving this blue light from the lights in your room. That way your brain doesn't hear blue light, blue light, blue light, day, 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 awake, awake, awake. But for some reason when we turn our lights off, we take our phone out and we stare at it. And that blue light is going into our eyes, even though the lights are off, the blue light is still getting in and our brain is still hearing day, 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 awake, awake, awake. And that's why it's so hard for people to fall asleep because your brain doesn't know that it's 2 a.m. It just knows that it's receiving blue light. It just knows that it's stay awake. And this is an easy transition into the second point of how it's ruining your mental capabilities. Because when you do finally put your phone on the nightstand and you're staring up at the ceiling, this is something we can all relate to. You're flooded with hundreds of thoughts throughout the day, and you're probably thinking, where the heck did they come from? And this sensation isn't that dissimilar from when you're taking a shower. Because when you're taking a shower, I'm sure we can all relate to this, you're winning fake arguments, you're recounting the things you've gone over in your day, and the only common denominator between sitting in your bed and staring at the ceiling and being in the shower is that you don't have your cell phone. Because your cell phone has this amazing ability to stop you from being bored. Right, whenever we get bored, what do? We immediately take out our cell phone and go through some surface level thought like scrolling through Instagram or sending a text or a Snapchat. And that surface level distraction is so powerful because it never allows our brain to get into that deep state of thought that you're in when you're in the shower, that you're in when you're sitting, laying down, staring at the ceiling. And your phone is robbing you of that ability to get into that deep mental thought. And it's very powerful because the ideas and thoughts and creative things we can come up with without our phone are amazing. Mike talked the other day about Pluto and Copernicus and Galileo. And imagine if they had cell phones, right? They probably wouldn't be spending their whole life's work rethinking the way we see the world. Imagine if Monica didn't have a cell phone. Jack didn't have a cell phone. What could they create with? What if you didn't have a cell phone? What kind of thoughts and deep visions and ideas could you come up with? And my final point is, and this is the absolutely most important point, is your phone is ruining your relationships. I'll start first with your sexual and intimate relationships. Now, us millennials, we do this thing called talking, right? We all know what it means. I'm talking to her, she's talking to me, we're talking. But what that really means is that you found her Instagram page through a friend, you got her Snapchat through somebody else. But if you guys ever actually made eye contact in person, your eyes would dart away so quickly it wouldn't even be funny. And that's because the connection that you two have is virtual. It's not visceral. And our phone is robbing us of that ability to put ourselves out there. I'm sure very few of you, and probably none of you, have ever really walked up to a girl or been walked up to and said, "Hi, my name's Matthew. I think you're very pretty. I would love to take you out on a date on Saturday." That doesn't happen anymore because it's so easy to take our phone out and just send a text or a Snapchat. It's not personal. And that's horrible because our phone is robbing us of that ability to get rejected. And the truth is, life is filled with rejections. And if you never take that leap and put yourself out there, you're not going to learn how to deal with and come back from these rejections. And your phone is ruining your ability to make that real, visceral connection with somebody. Your phone is also ruining your friendships. And here's what I mean by this. Mike, please ask me why I want to be a dentist.
Matt, why do you want to be a dentist?
Yeah, my neighbor was a dentist and hung out with him a bit, and I thought I'd be good at it. Now, Monica asked me why I want to be a dentist. But before you do that, do you see what we're doing, first of all? We're making eye contact. And that's unfortunately so rare these days because our phone is always the barrier to this. Now, please ask me.
Why do you want to be a dentist?
Well, Monica, I've always kind of thought of myself as an architect. And architects, they build things that are beautiful but also functional. And I couldn't imagine anything more beautiful and functional that I would want to build than a perfect smile. But do you see the difference in level of conversation that me and Monica just had versus me and Mike? And the only thing that changed was I didn't have my phone in my hand. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with this because you can imagine 3 or 4 of your friends sitting in a circle and having this rich, budding, prosperous conversation. And then the second there's a hint of a pause, somebody takes their phone out. And within 30 seconds of that one person taking their phone out, everybody else also has their phone out. And that once rich and synergistic conversation that you guys were having is ruined because nobody has the audacity to put their phone away and start that conversation again. And that's terrible because that means that the conversations that you and your friends can have are small, they're surface level. There's no depth and breadth to the things you can discuss because your phone always gets in the way of those powerful conversations. Your phone is ruining your life. So at the end of this, when you go to reach to pick up your phone, and I'm not asking you guys to throw your phones away. I'm asking you to think about when you do reach for your phone, what you're agreeing to. You're agreeing that you don't care that your posture is ruined, that you're putting yourself in a depressed state. You don't care that your sleep schedule is ruined because you refuse to put your phone down before you go to bed. You don't care that your mental capabilities are stifled. Now, do we remember when we were kids and you could go outside and play with 2 sticks and a leaf and create a hero and a villain and a backstory and a future and everything in between? It's this thing I like to call childish creativity, and we're all born with it. But your phone has suffocated that because we no longer allow our brains to explore those areas that we're all born with. And your phone is also ruining your relationships. They're keeping them surface level and superficial. And your phone refuses to allow you to have those deep, rich, and powerful connections with people. So now please, if you dare, pick up your cell phone.